To control the population, every 15 years, God unleashes millions of monsters. Humanity attempts to fight back, but the monsters are too powerful and people can only hide. The story begins with the first Judgment Day, when monsters emerged from ordinary mines, killing millions and destroying cities. A war broke out and the monsters were eventually eradicated. Protective gates were built at the sites of the old wells to prevent future attacks. 15 years have passed, and the world has somewhat recovered. Laura, one of the survivors, works at a school and has a persistent but unsuccessful boyfriend named Milton, whom she often rejects. Her reluctance seems to stem from her resentment toward her ex-husband, Dave, who wasn't there during Judgment Day, leaving her to survive alone while pregnant. Laura and Dave have a 15-year-old son, Tyler, who spends his days at the skate park with his friends, including his girlfriend Maddie. In his spare time, Tyler plays video games, and his parents' strained relationship revolves around him. As the situation grows tense, an eclipse approaches, signaling the possibility of a new monster invasion. Seismic activity is rising, emergency checks are underway, and news reports announce the mass extinction of fish, an ominous sign similar to what happened before the first Judgment Day. Migration patterns also seem to repeat, adding to the fear. While Tyler is at Dave's house for the weekend, Dave receives a call from an old friend, Ted, who warns that the next Judgment Day is imminent. Ted urges Dave to take his family to his shelter before the eclipse. Meanwhile, a monster appears under the protective dome, silently climbing the stairs. The workers' futile attempts to stop it lead to chaos. Laura calls Dave in a panic after seeing the news, demanding he bring Tyler home. She believes the shelter Milton reserved is their only hope, but Dave reassures her that Tyler is safe with him. However, Tyler secretly sneaks away, and after some searching, Dave and Laura realize he's at the skate park. Milton helps locate Tyler, and they rush to the shelter as the city descends into chaos. When they arrive at the shelter, it's too late. Only women and children are allowed entry. Dave urges Tyler to go with Laura, but Tyler insists on staying with his father. After some frantic moments, they finally manage to get into a car and try to escape the impending disaster. Monsters flood the city as the eclipse begins. Dave and his family, along with Milton, are forced to flee, narrowly avoiding capture by the monsters. They head toward Ted's shelter in the desert, but when they arrive, they find the doors locked. Ted, behind a monitor, is threatened by someone with a gun, and the shelter's defenses are put to the test as the monsters approach. Inside the shelter, tensions rise. Garrett, a soldier who survived the first Judgment Day, explains the monsters are born of the devil and feed on human souls. Meanwhile, monsters continue to attack the shelter, forcing the group to consider escaping. Garrett proposes leading them to a new hideout, but his true intentions become questionable. After a fight and several deadly encounters, the group makes its way to a bunker. A series of harrowing events follow. They navigate the dangerous world outside, battling monsters and avoiding deadly encounters. Garrett reveals a plan to take them to a secret bunker, but the journey is fraught with peril. As they travel, they are hunted by monsters and face unimaginable dangers. The group eventually finds themselves at a critical point where survival seems impossible. The group fights back using every resource at their disposal, but the dangers of the world around them become increasingly clear. With the monsters closing in, they make one final stand to protect themselves and their loved ones. The story ends with a glimmer of hope, as the eclipse passes and the monsters vanish. Yet, the world is irrevocably changed, and the fight between light and darkness continues. As the eclipse ends and the monsters disappear, the group is left standing in a world that is now ravaged and broken. The shelter they sought refuge in is no longer safe, and the once familiar world has become a place of uncertainty and chaos. Despite the defeat of the monsters, the group realizes that they have not truly escaped the horrors that remain. Laura and Dave, exhausted but relieved to be alive, hold their family close. Though the monsters are gone, the scars of the world's destruction are evident all around them. They know that the fight for survival is not over, but for the first time in a long while, they allow themselves a moment of peace. As the group reflects on their journey, they realize how much they have lost and how far they have come. The memories of the Judgment Day still haunt them, and the wounds of the past are hard to forget. Yet, amidst the ruins, there is a quiet sense of hope. With the monsters gone, there is a chance for humanity to rebuild, to heal, and to start anew. The story ends with the family walking into the uncertain future, knowing that the world may never be the same, but that as long as they have each other, they can face whatever comes next. The legacy of the Judgment Days remains, but so does the unyielding will to survive and to fight for a better world, no matter how dark it may seem. The monsters may have been defeated, but the true battle is still ahead. The battle to reclaim the light and rebuild the shattered world. And so, as the survivors step forward into the unknown, the message is clear. Even in the face of overwhelming darkness, hope, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit will always find a way to endure.